Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be playing with some rainbow stamping and using some of the new Dina Wakley stencils that have come out. So I'm starting off on this page that was inspired by Claire Stead, using some of her rainbow brush stroke techniques, and this was what was left of my paintbrush, so it was sort of a used up page in my journal. I really loved it, but I never knew what to do with it, so I grabbed this new stencil from Dina Wakley called Sunshine and completely obliterated with black paint. So I've got this beautiful striking image against that rainbow using black gesso. So having the black on that page sort of really helps the colours behind to pop together, or pop out, sorry, and also because the colours in the background weren't necessarily applied evenly, like the page on the right hand side. By putting a stencil over the top of it, it kind of ties it all together. So it's a really clever way of bringing something together that might not necessarily look the best when you first have it done, if that makes sense. One of the things I do like to do with black stenciling, however, though, so it's not so dominant on the page, is to outline the outsides of it with a white pen. And this just helps to sharpen up the image. It helps to give it a bit of a focal, make it more of a design point on the page, I suppose. I'm not being very particular with my lines. They're a bit wonky. You'll notice that in the close-up at the end. But it's just enough to sort of outline it and make it look interesting. With these skinny bits in the middle, I've actually chosen to draw around the outside of the black rather than on the inside. Just because I didn't have enough room, I didn't want to make a mess of it. You could certainly sort of just put a line down the middle, whatever works for you. And while I've chosen to obviously use black and white here, you could certainly outline with another colour. As long as you've sort of got a contrast, I think is what you're looking for. But you can sort of see how that white makes a huge difference to the stenciling. I'm not particularly concerned that the stenciling doesn't go to the edges, because I knew I was going to cover that over in some way, again to sort of frame my page a little bit. So that wasn't too much of an issue. But you could always sort of get a paintbrush if you wanted to and paint the whole way down and cover the edges of the stencil as well. So once I've completed my stenciling, I was then deciding what I wanted to put in the middle, and I wanted to continue with this rainbow theme because I really like the background. So I found these old, well, not old, they're Dina stamps from last year, but I want to play with stamping, doing some rainbow stamping. This sort of technique will work with any inks, better probably with dye inks because they blend a little bit more easily. I'm actually using the archival inks, and I'm just going through the colours of the rainbow, stamping a little bit on and then overlapping the colours. Now I'm not particularly concerned, it really, apart from the yellow, there was a little bit of colour transfer, but it wasn't enough to actually ruin anything of the ink. And it just blends together really nicely. I've done this with the distress inks as well, and it works really, really well. But it's just a fun way to get a rainbow image on your page. The other thing that you can do is, particularly with distress inks, is give it a little spritz of water before stamping it, but I work fairly quickly, so it didn't dry on the page. If you don't have a whole heap of rainbow inks, you can use textures to do exactly the same thing. So just do strips of colour texture, and then if you blow on it or give it a quick spritz of water, and you'll get a really cool image. So you can see there that rainbow image really helps to pull this page together, and also fills up that little spot in the middle. However, I've kind of lost my framing of the page somewhat, so that's what I want to focus on. So this is one of the new Dina tissues. I think it's called alphabets. It's all different types of alphabets. And I just wanted to put a little bit of, again, sort of that black and white on the page. So this is how I wanted to frame my page a little bit. So I'm going to use this as an inside piece, and then I am going to use some black as my outside again to have that sort of black and white contrast. I just grabbed some of my scrap paper that I did my stamping on. Didn't measure it very well because I had to overlap this a little bit, but used that to make my black piece of paper because I didn't have any black cardboard. So obviously if you've got black cardboard, you could use that. That would be really good. But I didn't. However, it was actually quite nice having that tauren white edge. So if you want the tauren white edge, use the leftover black paint you've got. Don't waste what you've got and just make do. One of the things that I would like to do, and I wish had happened a little bit more with this tissue paper, is it actually tore really nicely in a nice straight line. I wish it was a little bit more deckled, like the black down the bottom here that you can see. So it's just a little bit of a straight edge and it looks a little bit odd to my eyes, but it is what it is. It still works, so it's all good. You can see here I'm just creating a little end bit to fit in, because nothing goes to waste in my studio. Everything gets used. It doesn't really matter that it doesn't quite match up. It sort of blends in the end. So gluing that in, and then I'm just going to stick my face in the middle, and this piece is done. What if I had some, and if it wasn't in a journal, just on a card front doing something similar like this, I would have placed that face on I put foam tape under that face to raise it up a little bit, but as it sort of worked, I didn't really need to do that. So this is a close-up. You can see the colours of the ink and the painting, how the stenciling works. You've got that beautiful sunburst effect in the background, and how the black lines bordered with the white sort of really pop in the page. So I hope you have a go at trying some rainbow stamping in your journal or in your card making. It's a great little technique to use, and it's very, very versatile. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.